So welcome to Unity Pflugerville, or Unity Spiritual Center of Pflugerville. I know it, I love it, I just can't say it. So I've got some of the things that directly pertain to Robert and Madeline and our beloved ministers. So you know what, I think I'm going to just go into that. So just for people that don't know, our ministers of 10 years have retired, and they have moved to Glendale, Arizona. And as of what day when they moved, or when they got to the house, was Monday or Tuesday, something like that?
On the fourth day.
On the fourth day. So on the fourth day they arrived, and they have more than 7 days worth of work to move into this house. Any of us that have appreciated moving many times, we do know that the work has just begun. And they have a wonderful task of being able to take a new home and make it their own, make it homey. And that takes more than just a little bit of time. So anyways, I just wanted to say how much we appreciated Robert, Madeline, and their leadership. And I know when you hear me talk about them, I have dropped the Reverend, their title, a long time ago, because to me, they went beyond being ministers or reverends. They became friends. And not just friends, but good friends. And so when you're talking with good friends, you don't need titles. So it was really, really pretty cool. They were wonderful part of our church. And Robert and Madeline, y'all did an awesome job. Thank you very much from my heart. And you will be a part of our hearts for forever. Okay, so as we get into the topic is new beginnings. Why not? We're going to be in a new beginning right here. So, but sometimes we have a little bit of conflict. So, what is the first thing you think of when you think of new beginnings?
Change.
Starting over.
Yeah. Okay, well, if change, well, I mean, of course, new beginnings and change are kind of like the same word, right? I mean, kind of, the only difference is one's a little bigger than the other. You can have change here and here, but new beginning, kind of bigger. So, sometimes it brings out some emotions in us that are a little fearful. Maybe not a little fearful, but more of
Unsure of ourselves.
unsure of ourselves. That's a great way to put it. Thank you. So unsure of ourselves, and I guess we feel that because we've gone through it a few times. And so I wonder somewhere along this line, whenever the new comes in, why do we actually feel that way, right? And the only thing I could come up with was that it's been written lots of times, we've heard it many times, that we're creatures of habit. We have our habits, we have habits, we create routines, and then we call that our comfort zone. And so whenever we start with new beginnings, it kind of takes us out of that comfort zone. But I mean, comfort zones that's really where we want to live. We want to live right there in that comfort zone, and we've invested time and effort into it, and then we wrap this emotional force field around it and say, that's my comfort zone. And that's all fine and dandy, but the thing that comes next that's kind of funny is we ask life, stay within my comfort zone. And life doesn't listen. Well, I mean, what is up with that, you know? So, you know what's funny about that is some of them, if we could see God as a stand-up comic, right? At least within my life, everything I do writes God's comedic material. Everything I do. You know, there's comedy in everything that I do. God's sitting there going, can you believe this? So imagine God up there, up in front. He's got the audience out there, and the audience is Mother Nature. The audience is Earth. Mother Nature, trees, animals, bears, birds, all the little goodies. And yet you see God up there, you know, got this comedic material, and he says, you know, I feel so comfortable with you all, but these humans, you know, get a load of what they want. And you get the bear in the background sitting there going, yeah, can you believe that? So in all of these expectations, throwing out life stay within my comfort zone, and of course, life laughs. So we have to deal with that. That's part of where some of our anxiety comes from, because all of a sudden, whoop, we're outside of the comfort zone. So there's no doubt that some of our new beginnings come with a little bit of challenge. It's an interesting word, challenge. And sometimes the challenge is easier than others. But experiencing some of these challenges seems to be less intimidating when we have partnered with our spiritual life, our spiritual self. And the neat thing about this church, this congregation, a lot of us have been together for a very long time, over 20 years. And we are well on our way with this spiritual life. We have roots deep within it. We have a pretty good understanding, and that we just keep trucking. We just keep walking on down that path. And so some of these changes are a whole lot less intimidating and a whole lot less, what was the word I wrote here? Threatening. Because we are no stranger to the spiritual life. And we have a better support system when you're in with the Spirit than you are when you're in with your ego. Because, I don't know about all of you, but I know about myself. When I let my ego lead, my ego will have me step in it all the time. I'll be stepping in it, and it's waiting for me, to just pull the rug right out from underneath me. So that part of my ego life doesn't do that well, doesn't support me that well. But the Spirit side does support me well. And when I'm within the Spirit, I feel more of a family, more of the comfort, and more grounded. So that there's not so much of an opportunity for the rug to be pulled out from underneath you. And there's not so much of the expectation of others to counter you. Because there's not that much to counter. When you're within your spirit side and working in partnership, you are supported. It is a part of the natural laws for this planet. So that's really a neat thing. And it's easier for us to handle these little outside bumps. So, with Robert Madeline leaving and us taking on kind of a new format for the church, we will be rotating for some of our long-term congregation and members. We'll all be taking our turns up here. We've said this a couple of times. I just want to reiterate it a little bit. And I was in a rotation. So there we go. Okay. I went looking for something to say in the Bible about change. And as I read through 20 verses, all different books within the Bible, there was a lot going on in a lot of different ways, but I found one in Isaiah. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and run the rivers for you in the deserts. That's pretty cool. I like that. So, another thing that within our changes is some of it being a little more challenging, some of it not being. And it kind of reminded me of a, let me see if I can say this right, a radio personality news person. Now, this person was big amongst the country folks and truly big with migrant folks. And he was, his name was Paul Harvey.
Yay.
Y'all remember Paul Harvey?
Yeah.
Well, there'd be a lot of head shaking, of course. Well, Paul Harvey was always kind of cool. I mean, that's Paul Harvey, standing by for news. He always started it off like that, and then he would go through his segments, his paragraphs for every little story that he had. And then, do you remember what he said next?
And now the rest of the story.
That's coming. That's coming. So, he'd get all the way down through one, and then he'd say, and he'd pause, and he'd say, page 2. And go right into page 2, right? So there was a bit of a pause, page 2, a bit of a pause, and then he went into page 2, which was always cool, And then at the sign off of that, sometimes when he told, let me get back to his daily thing. On his daily thing, when he ended, there was mostly a chuckle at the end. Paul Harvey, good day. And that was the end of it, right? So it was always kind of cool, page 2. Now he didn't take a whole lot of what he had just said. I mean, it was just like he'd read it off of a teletype. Then page 2, and then was it, and that was it. So a lot of our changes can be just as simple as something saying page 2 or turn a page. It can be as simple as that. And when we are supported within our spiritual self, it's easy to make that page turn. In change, the most difficult part is deviating from our comfort zone. When free of our comfort zone, do we take our old ways with us? I mean, are we going to be so locked into our own ways that when the change comes about, are we going to take all the baggage with us? Are we going to take all of our old ways because it's our comfort? Well, the change there is so that we get out of that comfort zone, right? So that we go beyond. It's the steps beyond. It's the next step. That's really, to me, that's cool and frustrating and everything else that goes along with it. But the change is there for you. If you accept it, or if you just want to stay back there, or if you want to take on the change your way and bring all the stuff with you. There will be another change right away if you take all the stuff with you. Because it's like sitting there going, no, we need to leave that behind. Leave that behind, let's try something new. So we have to be like courageous people all the time. If it's a big change. And if we put it as a big change up here, it'll be a big change, right? If we just see it as, and when we're on the spiritual side, these changes, they're not that big of a deal. I mean, especially if we feel like we're in our golden years. Now, I'm stuck in silver. I don't know where you are. I'm stuck in the silver years, okay? And so the changes, they keep rolling on by, and, they're not as big as they used to be when I was a kid. But I didn't have all of the love and support that I have now. And being within self, being in partners with soul, or our divine light, that's where we are supported the most. So anyway, it's easier for me to go through those kind of changes now, and they're not so monumental. New beginnings start with thought. New thinking makes it easier to make the necessary steps. Thoughts are seeds and grounds and are grounded. Let me see if I can do it again. Thoughts are seeds, and the ground we plant them in is faith. Is our soil fertile and rich, ready to accept seeds and promote growth? Will we love and nurture and support the growth? What are our expectations, and what is our vision? Sometimes within our change, if we can identify and understand the change easily enough, we want to nurture them. We want to nurture the change, and then we want to have a vision for it. So, as we change, being a part of our steps on the path, the vision of where we're going, is simple. We're on the path of Christ, and we just stay on target. And each one of these little changes help get us to where our destiny is. And our destiny can be profound. And it can be common. It can be anything we really want it to be. Okay, so the last part of this, I'm way ahead of schedule here, but as a part-time writer, I kind of view it like this. The writer has a thought given to them from the universe. And then I put in there a seed in hand. The writer gathers writing material together and writes it down. A seed has been planted. The thought has meaning and the message is forming. A seed is taken root. The writer opens the channel and allows the message to flow. New life sees the light of day. Following through with some of the stuff that are our thoughts, coming from the universe and coming from our divine self, are things that we need to take action on and give it in life, an opportunity, and have the faith in it. And the faith is the fertile ground that we plant there. So, taking direction from others all the time and letting them help grow our lives isn't exactly what we are here for. Our best teacher is the one right here. Our best teacher is in our heart and a part of our divine self. So, will the new message turn into a story? How much attention will this message get? And what are our expectations? And what is our vision? So, I see our change as another step in the direction that we were going. We have plenty of roots into our spiritual life. We are rooted deep, and we have lots of experience in here amongst the people that are going to be taking their turns up here and helping us stay together. Now, when we pay attention to the inside and the divine, then we're really on our path already. And when we get together like this, we have already formed a bond, but we are just gathering together and being in support of one another and in support of this spiritual life. We don't necessarily need to have people telling us which way to go and what to do, whether we're part of what I wanted to bring out here. If we pay attention to this, then we're already doing the right thing to begin with. Yes, sir.
As we listen to other people's life story,
That helps us change, and we need to change. But we have to listen to I've listened to your life story for 20 years. You think it has not affected me? Tremendously.
Wow. And that's a part of what we bring out, the depth of what we have. We have been together a very long time. And we do, if there's a grain of truth within what somebody's saying to you, the seed's planted. It's there for you to think about, it's there for you to feel about, and it might be there to help you make a step in that direction. So has anybody been, I've said this before, but has anybody been somewhere and somebody's babbling something off to the side? You don't know them from Adam, but they're saying something, or maybe you're overhearing something from a conversation from somebody else, and the message strikes you. Either it hits you here or it hits you right here, and that message is for you, right? So out of listening to one another for 20 years, or being friends, or something that a friend would say, or something that a stranger might say, that's that seed somewhere in there. If it strikes you, it's there for you. Yes, ma'am.
So what, I think the thing that really struck my heart was when you are talking about new beginnings and you bringing your baggage with you. And I mean, wow, how many times do we do that, right? How do we keep approaching, we wonder why certain things don't work out. And when we keep approaching situations in the same way and we don't take the opportunity to stop and say, how am I showing up? What is it about what I'm thinking or doing that's making this not work? And so, and we know we are prepared. And I loved how you talked about how, we're here to grow. I mean, we are not here to stay in our comfort zone. That is not why we were put on this planet. And so, all of these new beginnings are opportunities to continue to grow and to put into practice the things that work. How do I was sharing with MJ, I've got a thing at work that's going on right now, and in the past I would have approached it one way, and this morning I'm like, I gave myself a pep talk on, you cannot approach this out of frustration. You have got to approach this with, there is an answer. I don't know what that answer is, but my work tribe can help me to figure this out. I'm not in this alone. And the only reason I'm thinking that I'm in this alone is because I'm letting ego take control. And so just kind of reminding yourself that, there are solutions. Things are going to work out. And you may not know exactly at this moment in time how that's going to happen. But if you rely on your inner spirit and you rely on others, which you talk so eloquently about, like, where do you get your information from? It may be spirit, but it may be somebody else. So thank you. That super, super good talk.
Our comfort zone is kind of like a small trap, if we think about it. Comfort zone, when our tools with dealing with life become predictable. Part of dragging all that stuff with you is bringing all of that predictability with you. See if we can't get beyond that. Sue, yes ma'am.
I was going to say that, because I've been in the planet for a long time, that when I look back at all my life, and I see some of the things that I thought were horrible at the time, and I wonder why God did that to me, or changes I had to take. And I realized that every single thing helped me get to my next step. The layoffs, the disappointments, all led me to where I am right now today.
Yeah, and you know what, trying to find a meaning out of every one of these changes, or anything that we consider something that was bad happening to us, you know, and we try to, why in the world did that happen? We were, I was on cruise up here, way up here, you know, all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, and you're down at the bottom, you're suddenly going, holy smokes, what's going on here? You're climbing your way back out, and then you turn around and look to try and see, what was that all about? You know, all it was really trying to do was get you to see it from a different angle. You know, maybe the doors, maybe you're not seeing the doors that are open because you're on such easy street up here, cruising right along. You're not seeing the avenue that will take you to a higher place. So, I don't think we can really, if we get ourselves locked into trying to figure out what happened over here, we're missing the point. We just keep our focus on our unity and our path of the divine path, and we just keep on trucking, because we're going to be led to our place anyway. Any other thoughts? Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
We can let Larry go first. While I've got this, let me go ahead and say this. Does not the Bible teach us that when God shuts one door, He opens another door? And if you turn around and look when that door closes, you see the bright sunshine like we see right here coming up, and the good and the beauty that can come out of it. When I get frustrated and upset about things that are going on, I always go outside and sit on the front porch, breathe the fresh air. As I was telling Valerie today, when you get that bogged down, step away, slow down, and that's when God talks to us and tells us you're in the right place at the right time, and all is well.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you, I learned that from you.
Oh. Is anybody else? Larry?
So, we always think the new is somehow tied to the past, but the new can't be tied to the past. So, we're always going to be afraid of the new because it's unlike anything we've seen before.
Good point.
So how do we step into something we know nothing about?
We step into something we know nothing about from the side of support. You know, because when we are within ourselves, when we are in harmony with our divinity, then we step with purpose.
God is always there for us.
Huh?
God is always there for us.
No, I think so. That's my thought.
Faith. That's where faith comes from.
Faith, most definitely.
Step out in faith.
I was going to say, when you look back throughout your years, all the times when things were the most uncertain, and you just didn't know really where things were going, and you just allowed the things to open up, and some of those were actually turned out to be some of your best times. Is when you were the uncertainty.
I like it when it works like that. I really do. That's really cool. Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. Well,
I got one I want to share.
okay.
On the topic of new beginnings, I've been sharing this with Larry too, but when I moved to Austin in 1981, I was 15 years old, and the music passion was already burning in me. At that time, I bought 2 acoustic guitars, didn't know how to play them, didn't learn to play them, but now here I am, 40-something years later, and last night I made a video that came out so good, I thought, I'm putting this on my Instagram. And I did. And I was just playing on this track and playing over this track that was a new song that just came out on Friday, and it was in a language I didn't even know what they were saying, but the vibration was so powerful. on those 3 chords, it just kicked my butt and said, you got to play these 3 chords. And I said, okay, I'm going to shoot a video about it. But that's a new beginning for me, and I have no idea what will come out of that. Who's going to see that video, etc., etc. But it's beautiful.
And it feels great.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's really good.
thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, I guess we're